Welcome to the John Clarence Gomez Show, and here's your host, John Clarence Gomez, and my guest today is Erin Quill. Erin, she is the original cast of the Broadway musical Avenue Q. She also appeared in TV and television series like NYPD, Damage, and NYC 22. She also appeared on the movie on the film Man on a Ledge. Hi, Erin. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, how are you? Good, good. How are you, John Clarence?
I'm okay. Uh, uh, Before we start, can you introduce yourself to our viewers from all the world? Can you say hi to them and introduce?
Of course. My name is Erin Quill. I'm a dual citizen of the United States and Australia. I am of Chinese descent, but I'm mixed, clearly. I am also, on my dad's side, Celtic Irish. Um, let's see, I was a member of the original Broadway company of Avenue Q, and I've done lots of theatre. I've been a part of the Broadway community now for over 20 years, and I have also been on lots of television, and I teach now at a couple of different universities, and I was happy to come on when I was asked.
Uh, uh, Here is the first question. When you was a child, how did you choose and like musical theater?
Um, well, I like to think that musical theatre chose me. I was a kid, I was very chubby. I didn't have a lot of friends. And my mother enrolled me in a theatre class with a lady who was named Betsy Dickerson, who had been in the original Broadway company of Sweet Charity. So Betsy was a dynamo performer, and I like to think she imbued me with some of that. She made me part of her performing company, and so we performed all over. And then when it came time to apply to schools, I just couldn't think of anything I would rather do. I had been a very serious art student, like fine arts drawing, and I just couldn't see what you do with it. And probably because I'm half Asian, right? And I was like, what am I going to do with a fine arts degree? So I went into the very completely not stable at all, but in my mind, it was much more stable to audition for theatre schools, and I got into Carnegie Mellon, where I received most of my training, my formal training. And when I graduated, I just came back to New York and started auditioning, and that's it. That's the story.
Yeah. uh, what is the first professional theater that did you act after graduating theater?
Um, after I graduated from Carnegie Mellon, I went up to I. There was a big. They don't do it anymore, but it was called the Straw Hat auditions, and all the regional theaters would come, and the young performers would audition for you know hundreds of theaters, and then they would make you an offer. And I got an offer from the Bristol Valley Theatre, which was actually in New York, and I went up and I did half a season there. I did Godspell, which was directed by Peter Flynn, who's actually made a fairly decent name for himself in New York theatre, and then I did an Agatha Christie Murder at the Vicarage, where I played the very disgraceful maid who was always getting everything wrong and breaking everything. So then I came down from that, from Summerstock, and I started auditioning in New York. I got a my equity card right away on the first production that I had auditioned for, because it was called Tiananmen Square, and they just figured, well, Miss Saigon is up and it's running, so we'll probably have far more Asian people auditioning for
Yeah.
theatre. So they just handed them out. There were three of us company that didn't have our equity cards, and they just said, we're gonna, you know, bypass the whole system, and we're just gonna give you your card right away because our thoughts are that you'll probably be working fairly quickly.
Yes.
Since there weren't that many of us, so it's kind of, yeah.
Also, when you did the Avenue Q, there is your fellow Asian cast member there, and I know her. I really know her. She is Anne Havada.
Yes, yes. I understudied for him. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Also
Mm-hmm.
on Miss Saigon, as you said, you do Miss Saigon. Uh, one
No,
of
I
our
didn't do that. I never did Miss Saigon,
uh,
actually. I was like the one, I think Anne and I were the two people that were of Asian descent who weren't in Miss Saigon, which was like a real, we'd go around and all the girls would have their show jackets and they'd be in the show. I remember the two of us being like, well, all right.
uh, oh, I thought you are in the Miss Saigon because in Miss Saigon, there is my fellow Filipina here there. Leia Salonga was in Miss
Yes,
Saigon. She is
yes, she was.
Yes, she was born here in Manila. She is famous here. Not only famous in the Philippines, she is one of the most famous Filipino, not only in the Philippines but on the world. You know, her music, her her musical Miss Saigon, where she played the role of Kim, made her famous around the world. And one of her famous song there is "On My Own."
Yeah, she sang, she did Les Mis, the
Yes,
concert version. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yes,
Absolutely. No,
yes,
she's the queen. She's for sure the queen of Asian American
yeah,
theater. Um, she's right now on a concert tour, I think.
yes. Uh,
Yeah.
can can we talk about the difference of two actors union in the US, because it is confusing on me. In US, there are two acting unions, SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity.
Yeah.
What is the difference of that? Because it is very confusing on me that they are just the same, but they are different. What the difference of this
No,
two?
they're not. They're not the same. Actors Equity only deals with stage
Oh,
performers, and stage managers. So Broadway is covered under Actors Equity, and we've just renegotiated our contract. So Broadway shows should stay open as long as the musicians don't go on strike. Um, Screen Actors Guild is anything that you see on a screen, television, streaming, films in theaters, and there is an element of I don't know if like TikTok and stuff is
yes,
covered just yet,
yes. I
but at some point,
yes, I
it
read
probably will be.
I read that news about SAG-AFTRA accepting social media influencers, because it is a form of talent too. Like for example, you are created an YouTube account or TikTok account or Facebook account that includes acting by yourself. It is a form of entertainment too, so it is good for
Right,
that.
right.
Yes,
And
that,
they want you to be, if that's your medium, they want you to be covered.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Although, if you're creating your own content, you're kind of in charge of everything, and so you wouldn't need necessarily some of the protections. But the thought is that if you become well known on social media, that you then could possibly transition into other forms like movies or television or stuff, and then you would need to be a member of SAG-AFTRA anyway. So they're just kind of, I guess, saving themselves last minute paperwork.
yes.
You know.
Let's talk about the Asian representation on Broadway. Can you tell about that to our listeners about Asian representation in the Broadway?
Right now, Asian representation on Broadway is really very limited. Um, it is one show currently, which is Maybe Happy Ending, which is set in Seoul, South Korea.
Yes, yes,
And
I know that. Darwin
yeah,
Chris.
Yeah, Darren Chris. Right, Darren Chris is Filipino.
Yes, I know.
Um,
Yes,
yeah,
he is a Filipino. I know.
yes. He is on break right now until November. So right now he's being covered. His part's being covered by Andrew Feldman, who is not Asian. Um, so that has been a bit of a contentious thing for
Yeah.
Broadway and for Broadway Asians,
Yes, that's right.
because the part is a robot, but it is a robot set in South Korea. So, the robots are supposed to be human-like because South Korea is supposed to have been actually South Korea is undergoing a birth crisis. They don't have enough people to take care of their family members and stuff like that. So this is kind of like a what if situation where they have robots that look like humans taking care of humans, right? So the likelihood that an Asian, particularly in a homogenous country, would invite in a Caucasian looking robot is that's supposed to pass as a family member is a little far fetched. I don't think it really serves the material, but this was a producer decision. It wasn't a performer decision. So we're just kind of being as polite as we can because that's our inner Asian coming out. But yeah, it's troubling because the representation right now is so scarce. There's no one Asian show other than maybe Happy Ending, and the producers swapped out an Asian American for a non-Asian American, and so our representation, as small as it is, went down just a bit further. It
Yes.
makes it complicated though because Andrew is the real life partner of Helen J. Shen. Helen is Chinese American, and she is the other lead in the show.
Yeah. She is the Asian right now on the show. Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
She's not the only one, but she's playing the part of Claire, the robot, and Andrew's playing the robot that eventually becomes her boyfriend.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, if the Asian representation should be grow, and there are more many Broadway musical that have Asian cast, so we can promote our culture. Because as a Filipino, I am proud to have more Asian in the to promote the culture of Asia.
Yeah, it would be great to have more representation. We just don't have it. We had last year. It was Here Lies Love, which was set in the Philippines.
Yes, I know that.
That closed.
Yes.
And so then, we have maybe Happy Ending. It's set in South Korea. A couple of years ago, we had Allegiance, which Leia was in as well.
Yes.
And that starred George Takei.
Yes, I know. Leia Salonga was
yeah.
there.
Yes, and Leia, yeah. But that one was the first Asian American story set in America. Maybe Happy Ending is set in South Korea, and Here Lies Love was set in the Philippines.
Yes.
So, it's kind of a thing that America doesn't really see us as Americans a lot of times. And so, they've never asked me to come in and do, for example, Hello Dolly. They're not gonna do that. But ultimately, really, that's the goal to have. And we had it for a little while because Nicole Scherzinger was on Broadway and won the Tony Award last year, and she's Filipino.
Yes. Yes, she is.
So we'll kind of see what's coming up. I don't know of any Asian-centric musicals coming up, so we're just really going to have to look to maybe Happy Ending and see if they maintain the casting after Darren leaves the next time, or if they are just going to continue with non-Asian robots in that show.
Yeah. For me, I I hope that there are many Asian that will be cast on many musical. For examples, like you said, Hello Dolly or Wicked, or in many
Right.
musicals that are not really Asian, but they will cast an Asian actor.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes,
That would be amazing. It hasn't. We had a glimmer of it last year with Nicole Scherzinger and Darren Criss, and then also in Hadestown, they had John Briones and his
yes, a
daughter
Filipino.
Isa Briones. Yeah,
Yes,
and they also had Timothy Lee. But long-standing shows like Hamilton has Marcus Choi and I think Eddie Lee, and Masquerade, which is off Broadway, is Telly Leung, Raymond J. Lee, and Anna Zalverson, and one more person. So there's like a couple here and there. It's just not an overwhelming amount for the amount of people that we have.
yes. Also, I want to tell you that after we do this podcast on 8 p.m. EST, on 8 p.m. at 8 p.m. EST today, I'm gonna participate in a table read of William Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I am
Oh,
playing
nice.
the
Good,
role
good.
of Demetrius. Yes, I am the only Asian cast there. I am the only Asian cast. Most of the cast are white because it is an international table with group online that
It's
do
an
held in
international thing.
Zoom.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, I am playing the role of Demetrius there, the lead, one of the lead of the play. I'm really happy
Oh,
to.
well, that's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you know, I would love to see more representation on Broadway. I would love to see more representation in film and television. We are still less than, I believe, 10% of the population of the entire United States. So it is hard, and that's all of us together. That's not just like just Filipino or just Chinese or just Japanese. So it is a constant challenge to come back and forth and try to represent and not be a little bit of facing extended periods of unemployment. But like we've got three in Queen of Versailles. So Melody Butiu, who's Filipino, and my friend Anne, and then whoever is Melody's understudy, who I'm not quite sure yet what her name is because I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, so there's a little bit, but it could be better. It could always be better.
yes, yes.
Mm.
Also, we have no time. So, can you introduce your upcoming shows to our listeners, mostly from the US?
Upcoming from the US, I think I'm doing more directing now, so I don't really have anything performance. Like I'm waiting to hear on a couple of things, so I can't announce them yet. But I'll be out. I'll be out and about. Don't worry, it'll it'll happen. But
Yes,
right now I'm just auditioning.
yes.
Yeah.
Here is the last question before we end. Can you
Uh-huh.
give an advice to many people, mostly Asian American and Asian who are listening to our podcast, who want to become an actor or actress or even director like you? Can you give them a little advice for them?
I think just um, hmm, that's rough because it's not easy. It's not an easy profession for anybody. So you have to do it if you really, really have to do it. Like you can't do it thinking like, oh, I'm going to try it, and then if it doesn't work out, I'm going to, go be a nurse or something. You have to love it enough to be like, look, I'm going to face unemployment. I'm going to face, concern about like a job that can sustain me while I'm auditioning. So I think the advice I'd give is like love it enough to live through all the other things that kind of challenge you with a career in acting or directing or show business in general because it's very, very difficult. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but it also means you have to be realistic about going into a profession that right now we're completely outnumbered and there's no show coming up that's like today. It's just not the case. So if you love it enough to suffer for it, then that's what you should do. And if you can think of doing anything else, probably that's what you should do. but don't think it's impossible. It's not, but it is difficult.
Yes, that's right. Yes. We have no time now, and it's time to say goodbye. And thank you,
All
Evan, for
right.
guesting to my podcast and accepting my invitation. Thank you for guesting. Bye. Thanks for
Bye.
having you.